Yo, welcome back to the lunch table. Food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. You already know where to hit that subscribe button, man. Shout out to AZ.
Shout out.
Shout out to Vegeta too. Shout out to Sob Story, my next guest.
Yes, sir.
What up, man? So to be honest, I think what really gravitated me toward you was the fact that you have Vegeta as your profile picture on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, he must like Dragon Ball Z.
Absolutely.
And Vegeta's actually my favorite character.
Bro, he's the most slept on character on DBZ.
Underrated.
Like everybody loves Goku, but like Vegeta's really that guy.
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean, there's moments where I felt like Vegeta really could have beat Goku's ass, like when he had like the Majin going on.
Oh, for sure.
Honestly,
that was the dopest version of Vegeta. That's like my favorite. Like
because
the whole what was that, the Buu series?
It was during the Buu series. Yeah. Because my whole thing about Vegeta is like, it's like, bro, we know you were naturally born evil, so it's just like if you want to maximize your potential in that, like you might just be the strongest character in the whole series.
And he has like the best story. Like he was the bad guy at one point, and then, like now he's like part of the squad. So
for sure. Yeah. Why do you relate to Vegeta a lot, man?
Honestly, like that was just like my favorite like anime like growing up, and like I don't know if you saw like the new Super movie. Like they have these dope ass jackets.
I haven't watched the Super too much, bruh.
So like some of them are right. The new one though, the Broly movie, fire. So they have like these dope jackets that say Sob on the corner. So if you look in the corner, I saw that. I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you look, he has like a little like jacket. It says SAB on it.
That's crazy because when I was looking at the profile picture, I was like, okay, he legitimately got Vegeta, then he put Sob on. No, but that's that's dope, man. That's dope.
Watch the movie. It's on there. I was like, yo, this is meant to be.
We got to get you one of the jackets, man.
That's
so
what
like
I'm saying.
When you go on tour or something?
Exactly. Like when I first saw it, I was like, yo, somebody please make this for me. Like Jerry Lorenzo. Like I need like a Fear of God like whole like cloak that has that on there.
I feel you, bro.
That'd be fire.
Okay, so then like Super Saiyan wise, would you go for like the gold hair or would you go for like the blue hair?
Blue hair for sure.
You go for the blue hair?
I think we had the gold version for so long. Like the blue's just fire. So,
yeah, and the blue is a lot more stronger from what
exactly.
You know what I mean? So man, shout out to Dragon Ball Z, man. I definitely love that anime. Is that your
Yeah.
favorite anime?
For sure. Yeah, hands down.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Yeah, I remember watching that like way back as a kid and good times.
Definitely simple
times. Speaking of the anime too, Brown Boy Maj, that's how he got his name too.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You know, from Majin Buu and whatnot. Shout out to AZ. AZ is just like, I feel like AZ has always been one of those cities who, you can correct me if I'm wrong, have just been like overlooked in terms of like, you know, this hip hop and R&B realm.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's so much dope talent out there, and I think because we're like in such close proximity to the West Coast, there's like already so much going on there that it's kind of easy to kind of like overlook that. But there's definitely like a wave of like really dope artists that are like coming out of there, and I think like the city's kind of bubbling and like the platforms are getting better. So like you're definitely gonna start seeing like and hearing a lot more from us.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you guys are far away enough from the West Coast to kind of like solidify your own sound.
Yeah, definitely like, you know, build.
Like you guys aren't like the YG type beats.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely like a sound and like an aesthetic and like a wave is definitely developing for sure.
Do you feel like you kind of have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder since like nobody's really made it out of AZ like that in recent years?
Not necessarily. Just because now I don't even think it really matters where you're from. You know what I mean? Like, the internet and the world's so big. Like, you can literally be from anywhere as long as like people message your music and it's dope. Like, there's not really like geography that kind of limits like how like you can blow up anymore. So. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, you could throw your music onto an ad and like, I don't know, somewhere in Asia, and then, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, you could be popping in Asia.
Exactly. Like, people hit me up on IG all the time, and I'm always curious, like, how'd you find my music? And it'd be, like, SoundCloud, or, like, saw you on, like, Discovery page, or just so many random ways that I would never think. Like, found me all the way out in Germany, like.
Yeah, your audience just expanded, bro.
I was never even thinking, like, the reach would be, like, I mean, maybe one day, but, like, now it's just, like, that's crazy how it, like, got out there.
Yeah, and I think what I appreciate about your sound, too, it's, like, it's universally appealing. It's kind of like this mixture between, like, you can sing super well on a very hip-hop sounding track. It's kind of like a mixture between, like, lo-fi meets, like, I don't know, new school hip-hop. Like,
man, I appreciate that.
I want to know, like, who are some of your influences growing up? Because I can't pinpoint it to anybody.
Man, see, the thing is, like, I had so many influences growing up. like in my house. Like
Speaking to the mic, man. People want to hear
my
your
bad,
beautiful
bro. My
voice,
bad.
bro. Nah, you good.
So growing up, like I'm a first generation kid. Like my dad's from Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
My mom's from South Africa. So like in the house, like I definitely had like those influences. And you know, it'd be like Sunday morning, my mom would be playing like gospel music, like getting us to clean the house. Like my dad would have like, you know, his friends or my uncles come over and they'd be playing like traditional like Naija music. And like I would have those cultural influences, and then like going to school, like I'd have like older homies like put me on a like Pac or like Big or things like that, and then like, you know, I would come home. I was like a 106 and Park kid. Like I would always sit up and like watch all the
Big
videos.
Tigger.
Exactly. AJ and Free, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I had influences from everywhere, but like when I first started making music, I would say it was guys like Ryan Leslie was huge for me.
Ooh, I don't hear that name enough, man.
Bro, he's like an underappreciated like
Arles.
Yo, Arles, man, shout out. But he was big just because like I'm like self-taught in music. Like I was one of those kids who like got my first computer, locked myself in my room, and I was like on Fruity Loops, like learning. And like I would watch YouTube videos where Ryan would be in the studio, like beatbox like a drum pattern, and then like go play it out, then hop on the keyboard and go like play that, and then write a whole song, like literally build a whole record. And I was like, yo, that's fire. Like I want to do that. Like,
you know, it's funny that you mentioned Arles because like I think he has one song that just sticks to me, and it's like that song where he's kind of like mumbling a little bit. Do you know that one?
I'd have to hear it again.
Man, but like to my point being, it's like I think you and Arles kind of make the same, I guess, style of music where you kind of push boundaries. You know what I mean? Because I feel like nowadays a lot of people just want to stick to like the formula of like what's hot. But like when I hear Sob Story, it's just like I said, man, it's like I can't really pinpoint who your influences are because it's just so unique.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you.
But, you know, shout out to Arles, man. Shout out to you too.
Shout out.
It's cool that you know, you said that your mom would be playing like church music because like when I was listening to Vybe for the first time, I was like, this is very like, you know, church-like.
Yeah.
And you also self-produced that too.
Yeah. That record, so that's actually that's not a choir. That's actually a sample. It's an old Robert Kelly sample.
Well, hopefully he's not getting the checks off of Vybe, man.
But so that was a sample that I chopped. It's funny, everybody thinks it's like a choir or something. I think it's because of the way the vocals are like stacked in it, or maybe it's the way like I flipped it. But yeah, definitely like those kind of like sounds from like my mom wake me up like early on a Sunday morning, like or like after church or something, like cleaning the house, like definitely kind of seeped their way into, you know, my sonics.
Did you end up like becoming a choir boy at one point? Not really.
No, not really, honestly. Like before even like music, like my identity was really art. Like I was really like in art as a kid. Like I drew, I like painted. That's what everybody knew me for. And music was always in the background. It was always something that I like kind of had in the background. I was like drawing. And it's funny, like I got to high school and you know, I wanted to get in like graphic design and stuff like that. So like I asked my parents for a computer. Got the computer and I didn't realize like, oh, I need like those programs.
Yeah, you need Photoshop. Like
exactly.
they'll run you up the ass.
And those
with
are like
those
like
programs.
$1,000 programs. And I was like, I barely got the computer. Like there's no way I'm getting those. So luckily, you know, the homie was like a wizard. He could get you whatever you needed.
You know, shout out to the bootleg versions of everything. I don't have any. Further, you know what I mean? I don't have any.
Right. So yeah, it gave me a hard drive and I, you know, got my programs and then I was going through the other stuff he had on there and I found FL Studio. I was like, oh, I've seen this before. Like this is what like Soulja Boy uses to make all his music and everything. So like I found it and literally like I took to it like really easily. Like I think one of the things that like gave me confidence like in my early like music was just kind of like how fast I was like progressing at it. It was just like I wasn't like trained music at all or anything, but I feel like I always had an ear for it, and when I like finally got the tools to like do it, it was just like supernatural.
It sounds like you kind of accidentally stumbled upon becoming a producer. You know what I mean? It's just much. Like, yeah, you know, I had this like hard drive.
Bro, it was a new toy. It was just like, oh man, this is awesome. Like I'm gonna like learn it and like make these like really dope songs, like taught myself how to produce, record myself, right? Like all those things.
That's crazy, bro. And you would just lock yourself in the studio.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, man. So then,
my
like,
bedroom at this point.
bedroom studio. You know what I mean? Like we all have those.
Exactly.
So then, like, were you kind of detached from a lot of people in high school because you were just so focused on yourself? It seems like you were focused on yourself, bro.
I kind of was always that way. Like even as a kid, like I would skip lunch and like recess sometimes, and I would just be like drawing. Like I kind of like lived up here like a lot, and like that was kind of like my escape was art. And that was the same thing when it came to music. It was, you know, instead of like being up like drawing in my room, I would, you know, be up making music. So it was, you know, I feel like art and music are like really synonymous. Like I feel like even though I wish I still drew more, like I kind of missed that part, but like I feel like I'm still drawing with music. Like it's just a different medium.
I mean, do you make your graphics?
Yeah, I still do that. So
there
I mean, the eye and everything's still there.
Yeah, I'm saying, bro, like, you know, don't downplay your shit. Like, you can still draw graphics and you make your own graphics for your cover art and whatnot. Like, that shit's beautiful, bro.
Man, thank you.
It's kind of it's kind of different nowadays because I think like back then everybody was so reliant on like getting like the record deal and being like, yo, you know, you guys are gonna handle the marketing, you guys are gonna handle like the way I look and whatnot. But I think like nowadays, like especially with the resurgence of the internet, like we have all the tools like we can literally look on YouTube and be like, okay, now I can become a graphic designer. Now I know how I can be a producer, and you become a lot more self-sufficient and therefore a lot more valuable, not only to your own brand but to like other people who,
for sure.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I first started, it wasn't something that I was like, this is how I'm gonna do it, but it was more out of necessity. It's like I don't have a graphic designer, so gotta do that. Don't have a producer, gotta be that guy too. Yeah, engineer, gotta do all those things. So it just makes you like more efficient, like as an artist, because there'll never be a time when I go to the studio and I'm like, oh man, where's the engineer at? He's an hour late, can't do anything. Or like, oh man, like I need to get the stems for this. Like I produced it, I have all that stuff already. So it's like, it just makes you like, you know, there'll never be a time where I can't do something because of somebody else.
Like, hey man, shout out to you, and you keep 100% of all that.
Facts.
So was Vybe was what, 2017?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So what was Vybe like the first record that you put out?
That was kind of the first one that like we put out, did like a, you know, real visual for and things like that too. So I was kind of like the first like introduction, at least like back home, for people to like kind of like see me and like, oh, who's this like new kid like with the record and like this visual and everything. So that was kind of like the like catalyst for like people to like discover me as an artist. Yeah.
And then afterwards everything just kind of took off from there. But you've been dropping like what, just singles, right?
Yeah, right now like obviously like my goal is like I really want to deliver like a body of work, but at the same time like I understand like for it to be as impactful and as effective as I want it to be, like I still have to like give people like bits and pieces of the story, pun intended. Yeah. You know, for
the Sob Story.
Exactly. For them to like, you know, anticipate it and like have it received the way I want it to.
I mean, what ideas did you like formulate in your mind for an album?
I definitely, like I said, like growing up, I was definitely a kid who like lived up here kind of a lot. And like I really want to, like with the body of work, like I really want to create like a world and like bring people into that. You know what I mean? Like in the way like Lauryn Hill did with like Miseducation, right? Like if you listen to that album, like she brings you into like this world, like sonically, where you're hearing, you know, like the sounds of like being in school, like kids at their desks, like at lunch, you know, teacher talking, something like that. And maybe not so much like on the head, but like bringing people into like a world.
Yeah. I mean, I think what tends to happen is that people will drop their like debut album, quote unquote. But then it's kind of just like a compilation of just like singles that they've made throughout the year. It's like, no, you don't want to do that. You kind of like, whenever I look at a body of work, it's like I want to remember like why exactly this meant something to the artist.
Exactly. Like I want it to kind of be like a timestamp of like my experiences or, you know, where I'm at that moment. Like I have a ton of songs right now. If I wanted to, I could drop an EP or a project, but I want to make it something that's, you know, special opposed to like just putting records out, because there's so much music that just comes out and like, you know, we could drop records all day, but I want to do something where we're still talking about it.
Where it's special.
You know, years from now, opposed to like, okay, this was cool for a couple months. You know what I mean?
This was cool for a week.
Yeah.
It went number one for like 3 hours.
Right.
So, you know, going back to like your story, you said you were like first generation and your parents had like immigrated from Nigeria, right?
Yeah, Nigeria,
so,
and
like,
South Africa.
So, you know, being in like a Filipino household, they usually want us to pursue the route of like the money making careers and whatnot. Sure. So what was that conversation like for you with your parents, where you were saying like, "Hey, I think I'm actually gonna do music for the rest of my life"?
It was difficult. Like, it was definitely hurdles for sure. Like, I remember specifically, like, you know, the time when I was really like developing like the idea of like, man, I could do this like as an artist. Like, I would already like, you know, obviously, you know, like having immigrant parents, like, you know, they're gonna push you towards those more traditional routes of like go to school, do this and that profession, because there's nothing wrong with that. That's just what they know. They're you know, they want the best for you. That's what they're trying to do. But I was always an artist before music. You know what I mean? I was an artist, and I always saw myself as that. So those things that's where we kind of always butted heads with, especially like being the firstborn too. It's like, you're going to college.
Like, you're gonna make money. And this is the safest way to do that.
Exactly. So like, I ended up going to Arizona State, and like,
ooh, party school.
Yeah.
From what I know.
Yeah. But yeah, I was, you know, my heart was like never really in it. Like, I was initially like in the design program or architecture program, and like
architecture. Damn, that's crazy.
Because I drew. And
you're super artsy, bro. You're super artsy.
Fartsy, man. But yeah, I figured like I draw, I want to design, like, you know, why not?
Yeah.
But like, I flunked out of that so fast because I was missing class because I was working on music, and I was like late to work because I was like working on music. So it's just like, why don't I just follow this thing that I'm like passionate about, that I'm like, that's like calling me at the same time. Like, you know, my parents were like going through a divorce, and like I had lost a friend who was like, this was his dream. You know what I mean? Like, that's what crazy. He wanted to do. So it's like this thing. Sorry, man. Somebody's calling the fuck out of me. Like this thing that is like calling me. I was like, I need to answer this. So I was like, talk to my counselor. I was like, you know, we need to do something. Because like the crazy thing with like their like architecture program is like, they'll have like a couple hundred kids like first year in it, but like they only let like less than 100 like continue with the program. So if you don't make it, it's like you have a bunch of credits that don't apply to anything else. So you kind of like ass out. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it was trash. College.
Well, I mean, especially since you knew your heart wasn't in it, and you had, you know what I mean. Exactly. It's kind of like, why am I gonna waste this year?
Right. So it's like, I was like, all right. Kind of bumped around programs for a bit, and then like talked to my counselor. I was like, look, we need to like figure something out. We need to like
this ain't it.
We need to put these credits together or something so I can get up out of here. Graduated, and like I didn't even want to walk. I didn't even want to go to graduation. I was like, wow. I did it for my mom. Honestly, I was like, let's take these pictures. Got my like piece of paper. Exactly. I was like,
later.
Got the piece of paper. Like, gave it to her. I was like, here, this is like for you. Like, that's really like who I did it for. And that was kind of like, at that moment I knew, like, you know, I did that. All right, cool. Like, if I want to like do something with it, like, it'll always be there for me. But like, music is this thing that, you know, that I wake up and I'm thinking about before I go to sleep. It's the last thing I'm doing. So it's here right now. Like, I need to pursue this. So
yeah,
literally like packed everything I could fit like in my car, moved to LA, like drove out here, didn't know anybody in the city, like Damn. Just came out here like with, looking back, not really much of a plan, like just trying to like figure it out.
That's crazy. You're crazy,
man. Thanks.
Where did you first where did you first live when you like moved out to LA?
I found some spot on Craigslist that was like some dude had like a room available, like his roommate had like moved out, and he was like, hey, I got the spot available for like a couple months. It was for the low. I was like, cool, I'm in there. And like I had friends who had like kind of done the same thing before, like came out here and like, you know, got chewed up by the city and kind of spit back out.
And then went back to AZ.
Came home, and like that was their story, and I was like, that's not gonna be my story. Like, I'm gonna figure it out.
See, that's a sob story.
Right. Right. No, that's kind of where like the name stems from. So like, you know, lo and behold, like, you know, a couple months later, that's exactly where I found myself. I was like, you know, my internship had fallen through, job had fallen through, spot I was staying at had fallen through, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like, for months, like I was sleeping out of my car, like trying to figure it out in LA. Like, I was all over the place. I was in the Valley, I was in Hollywood, I was in Culver, like just literally just figuring out like, how do I like maneuver, like how do I like, you know, make this thing happen.
Yeah.
And like nobody knew. Like, I didn't, like, tell anyone. And, like, it was to the point where, like, I was kind of, like, almost on my rope's end. And I remember I called my mom, and she's, like, super emotional. So, like, as soon as I told her, I was like, she's like, hey, like, how's it going? I was like, you know, it's like kind of, you know, typical conversation with your mom.
We living it, Mom. We in LA. We all good.
Right. It was kind of like that. And I was like, no, it's not good, like, at all. Like, I've, like, been lying to you for, like, last couple months. Like, I'm like I don't know what to do right now. Like, she like broke down. My mom's like super emotional, and she broke down. She was like crying and everything. I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't even have told her. But like, to my surprise, like at the end of the conversation, she was like, look, you know, you can do one or two things. Like, you can come home. Like, that's always an option. Or, you know, you can stick it out. You can figure it out. Like, this is something that you love, and like, you chose to do this. So, you know, you just, you know, put your head down and figure it out. Yeah. And like, honestly, that was like, before like that conversation, like, I felt like I had like nothing left. And after that, it was like literally all I needed to hear. I was like, whatever I need to do, especially like, you know, like my parents, like coming here, like immigrating into this country, like they've told me stories, like, you know, things they had to endure and like things they've gone through. So like, looking at it at that moment, like I was like, look, this is only temporary. Like, you know, I can do this. If my parents like came here and like made a life for like their 3 kids, you know, especially, you know, language barriers and, you know, the time they came up in, like, I could do this. This is nothing. So like the next day, like I remember I got up and I used to park like outside of, I used to keep my car parked like outside of like hotels.
Because you know for sure they get a check.
Yeah, and I was like, I figure that's like pretty safe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then, like, I would, like, get up and, like, do my routine, like, walk in there, like, I own the place, like, brush my teeth, and, like, grab, like, free, like, like, coffee and, like, bagel or whatever they had down there. And I remember this, so it was the next day, and I remember, I would just go wherever they had, like, free Wi-Fi. And, like, the previous week, I had sent out probably, like, 20-plus, like, emails with, like, my resume to, like, different studios, you know, just trying to get like another studio gig to like get in there, get in the door.
You're smart.
And hadn't heard anything back till that morning. Like the one studio, the one that I really wanted to be at, which was the only one that responded, was like the first thing sitting in my inbox.
That's crazy. Which studio?
I'm not gonna say their name.
It's all good then.
Yeah, but
let's move forward.
Yeah, it was a dope studio.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, that's crazy. Literally like the day after I had the conversation with my mom, and then like at the same time, my homie, shout out to my homie Dev, he randomly hits me. He's like, hey, haven't seen you in a minute, like let's link up, you know. Told him what I was going through, and he was like, bro, like fuck that, you're not sleeping in the car anymore, like come to the crib, you know. Staying at his crib, I think I was there for maybe like, I think I slept on his floor for like maybe like 3 days, but like in that time, like so many things happened, like finesse the studio gig, finesse another place to stay, another living situation, and then like literally just like figured it out, like made it happen. Yeah. So that was kind of like the catalyst for like the name, like Sob Story. It's like really like whatever happens to you like in life, it's like it's never a sob story, it's Sob Story. Like I want to be the one like writing it. Like if your life was a movie, like something crazy happened to your character, like how would they respond? How would you write that?
And it's scene? Like, I think what tends to happen is that, let's say when people say, like, oh, like, last night was a movie, da-da-da, right? Yeah. Like, I think people will look at that and just see the highlights of everything that goes down. But it's like, those highlights wouldn't mean much if you didn't go through the, you know, like, in your particular situation, like... Like, the stuff that you're doing now wouldn't necessarily mean more if you didn't go through the struggle of, like, 6 months just, like, you know, chilling in your car, like, going to hotels, trying to get free Wi-Fi, sleeping, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like my movie could have been way different. I could have just said, like, all right, pack it up and just go home. But who wants to watch that movie? Yeah.
That's like a 1-minute clip. Right. That's a trailer. That's like, you know, like when you watch movies and the trailers are just super revealing. You're just like, well, I already got the movie. Like, I don't need to watch the shit anymore.
Exactly.
Damn, man, you have a crazy story. I'm so happy you were able to like stick it out, bro.
Appreciate
like,
that, man.
It's crazy. So then, how long have you been in like LA for now?
So like I'm kind of like back and forth right now, like splitting time between here and AZ. I went back because like we started the single Vybe, so we shot the video and stuff out there. So I really like wanted to come back and like build, you know, like my like fan base and like really start from like home base. So like now that we're kind of like getting the ball rolling on things, kind of like back and forth kind of makes more sense for me at this time. So I'm kind of like still like in the city, like being an artist from there, but at the same time like taking advantage of the opportunities like I have, you know, out here. So
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, like I'm happy we finally get this going because I don't know. I've been on your shit for maybe like a year now, and
Man,
I'm happy. You just have a crazy story, man. I don't know. I'm honestly like kind of shocked right now. Seriously,
honestly, I that's probably the first time I've told like that story like in like interview form like this.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like hate doing interviews, but like this is chill because it's more like this feels like a conversation. I feel like I'm just talking to a homie right now.
Oh, of course,
opposed
man.
to just like from
we've
this and that,
known
like,
each other on the internet for like 6 months or so.
right?
I do gotta ask you though, man. You just dropped your song 48 Hours in Ibiza.
Yeah.
Is that like a legitimate experience? You spent 48 hours in Ibiza?
I wish we still we still got to get the budget to really like do that. But no, that record kind of came out of like I think I was just having like a shitty week, and like I had the idea of like, damn, kind of just want to like get out somewhere for like just 2 days and just go crazy. And shout out to the Audibles, they produced that record. And I remember Jimmy sent it to me, and I hate listening to music on my phone, but like it was kind of like I was like, in that moment of like, fuck, like today sucks. And then I got it. I was like, let me just check it out real quick.
Yeah.
And like I heard it, and it was just like, yo, this feels like so different from where I'm at like right now. Like this feels like the destination I'm trying to go to. So
Okay,
that was kind of how like that record happened.
I like the play on that, man. Look, we got to get a budget for you just to like, you know, get out to Ibiza. Right, the only thing I request is that when you do shoot the video, I'm going with you.
Oh man,
I just want to PA the whole thing and be like, yeah, we in Ibiza right now.
You're driving the boat. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, man. We're probably gonna crash if I drive the boat. Oh man, so Sob Story, man. Are you just gonna be releasing singles for like the rest of 2019? Or what do you have planned?
So we got some more singles, some more videos, some more content like on the way. Like that's kind of like the move right now, just like giving people like more glimpses of like the story, and then like top of the year, like I really want to like go into like, you know, carve out what the project is and start, you know, being able to like deliver that to people, you know, in a way that makes sense.
Got you, man. Well, you know, we need you to have like a record with like Brown Boy Maj too.
Oh man,
you know,
we
need like some AZ connect.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Brown Boy.
Blue like Kev, let's make it happen. Sob Story. Quick round of like quick questions, man.
For sure.
So obviously we're at the lunch table. What's your favorite food?
Man, I love Thai food. Like I've been vegan for like almost 3 years, no, like 2.5 years now. So like Thai has been something that like I discovered like, yo, this is amazing.
Wait, is Thai heavily vegan?
There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options, and there's like it's really easy to make it vegan. It's like, you know, pull egg out here, like, you know, no dairy on this or whatever. But
I got you.
Yeah, Thai food is fire.
All right, dream collaboration. Let's just speak that into existence.
Ooh, dream collaboration. Oh my God, it honestly changes every day. I would say someone I was thinking about recently, Kiana Lade.
She's fire.
She's super dope. I was just listening to her. I was like, damn, it'd be dope to do a record with her.
Yeah, man. And I especially like the fact that you said Kiana Lade because I think what's super unprecedented now is that guys and girls don't be working together on the same music, but it's like even in R&B from like the mid 2000s, like you had Ja Rule and Ashanti, you had Bow Wow and Sierra. It's like we need that today.
I feel like it's definitely coming back. Like that whole genre is having like a resurgence right now, so everything repeats itself. Like we're definitely gonna see that. So
I hear you, man. Favorite anime, obviously Dragon Ball Z.
Ooh, yeah.
But what else? What else do you be doing like outside of music?
Honestly, I don't do too much outside of music.
I'm just like, stuck in the room.
I'm like, it's like studio, or like gym. Like I try to work out like probably like 5-6 days a week. So.
Oh shit! Well, I ain't fucking with you then.
Yeah. Other than that, like I'm pretty in the zone right now.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Are you into like basketball or anything like that?
Yeah, I used to hoop like growing up. So don't as much anymore. Like my little brother's like the real hooper. Like I'm washed right now. Like he definitely like destroyed.
He's the one.
Yeah, he's the one for sure.
He's gonna go on to play with the Phoenix Suns later on.
That would be incredible. That would be fire.
Sob Story, thank you for stopping by the lunch table, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Where can everybody find you?
I
was like,
you gotta edit that. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Do we still do Facebook? Is that?
I don't know. Do you got Facebook?
I don't even remember the last time I like logged.
Do you got like a TikTok, Snapchat, all that?
Instagram, Twitter for sure. That's like where I'm most active. It's the Sob Story, the SAB story.
There you go. Well, this is the lunch table. Also, you got to plug your Spotify too, bro, because I had to type your name up in so many different ways, bro.
Yeah, we got to figure it out. So it's Sob Story, SAB $TORY.
There you go, man. Well, this is the lunch table. Food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Sob Story. Next time you see us, we're gonna be in Ibiza. Peace.
Yeah, for sure.